The Pirates are 14-14 under Don Kelly after sweeping the Phillies at home this weekend. Let's talk about the best series of the season next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome to Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan. Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. The Pittsburgh Pirates swept an opponent in the 2025 season, and it's not even the 4th of July. Look, they're 26-40. I don't intend to let a series sweep have me going loony. But at the same time, I mentioned in the lead that the Pirates are 14-14 under Kelly. That, of course, compared directly to the 12-26 Shelton was able to squeeze out of this pool of players. If you believe that there was more talent that was being untapped, you probably have an argument they're getting more now. I guess you could argue health too. Either way, you have to play better before you can get to playing good. And following that series, I bet this team feels like they've gotten there. And they want to make it last a little bit longer. This sweep also has their home record at 17-18 with a shot to improve it further against the Marlins, one of two teams with a worse record in the National League than the Pirates. So let's start with Friday. Oh yeah. And every one of these games was delayed. I think actually that was the fourth delayed start in a row for the Bucks. I mean, listen, it's Pittsburgh. I'm used to the weather, but that's something that you don't see very often. So Friday, Andy Rodriguez has to leave the game with right elbow inflammation. They don't currently believe it's the tendon, but that doesn't mean that they won't have the original doctor take a look at basically the arm that he has shepherded back to health, before they do anything with Andy. I don't know what this means for him longer term. We'll probably have to have a longer discussion on it when we have a little more clarity on his health. But at some point, if throwing a lot is going to be a problem for Andy Rodriguez, they're going to have to forego the catching thing, which in some ways might make a lot of discussions about the Pirates a little easier. Maybe they can focus him somewhere else. But again, I digress. We'll talk about that. Henry Davis hits a big 2-run shot and a double. Nick Gonzalez triples. Brian Reynolds homered. Just a good back and forth ball game. Bailey Falter got pulled in the 4th. It was a little bit controversial, but Bailey had been getting touched by Turner. And Chase Shugart had not allowed an inherited runner all year long. So, of course, this time it didn't work. He gave up a run. But the Pirates had matched them over and over again, like inning for inning. They never let them enjoy that lead. Saturday was a pure pitcher's duel. I don't know. I really loved Friday's game too. I thought it was great. The comeback was exciting. The Pirates haven't done a lot of that. When they got down 4-1, it was scary. You kind of felt like then Brian Reynolds hit that home run chipped away. Henry Davis kind of came out and boom, just tied it right back up with that big 2-run shot. And I don't know, you got this feeling of belief, didn't you? And it was so weird because that was the game I think I went into the weekend telling you guys they had to have if they were going to even have a shot to win this series. And here, that was probably the hardest one to get. Saturday, pure pitcher's duel. Ranger Suarez versus Andrew Heaney. Andrew Heaney left the game with calf cramps after the 7th, but he had a runner at third and nobody out. First of all accounts say Andrew Heaney's fine. It was just cramps. We should not expect him to miss any time. Isaac Mattson, though, Pitt alum, played Houdini and kept the Phillies from taking the lead and setting, the platform for Henry Davis to homer and toss on his pads and catch the most dominant version of Bednar we've seen all year for the save and Mattson's first win. Incredible work. I can't explain how much I thought it was a sure thing that run was going to score there, and Mattson somehow got out of it. It was incredible. And then yesterday, Paul Skeens goes 7 2/3 innings of 1-run ball. I'm not exactly sure why they didn't just let him go ahead and get the last out. Then he might have qualified for the eventual win that the Pirates scratched together behind O'Neill Cruz manufacturing a late run and Andrew McCutchen knocking him in with a broken bat. But it's also hard to get upset because it worked. And Braxton Ashcraft finished the game and, got his first win, much like Mattson did the other day. And just the excitement on Ashcraft after the game, boy, it's kind of hard to get mad. And I don't think that Paul Skeens cares all that much about that total. He's dominating just about everything he can control. Just not that win-loss column. All I can really say is soak this one in. I mean, we haven't had too many series like this in the last year or so. It's been a rough go of it. Soak this one in and let yourself enjoy it. Sometimes you don't have to tell the entire story of the season every time you talk about anything, okay? Sometimes you can just look at a little oasis of good, recognize the oasis of good for what it is, hope that you see them actually put that product out there a little bit more often. I see a lot of people like, after the win on Friday, like, man, this team, if that they score 5 runs and they finally win, like, can you imagine if they were able to do that early? Yeah, I know. That's all true and everything, but your team just won. Like, can you be happy for 10 minutes about it? I think so. They're playing better baseball. It's just a better brand of baseball. They come off that loss of a series to Houston, and it kind of felt like there's a difference between the way they weren't hitting before and the way they haven't been hitting some of these really good pitchers that they've been facing. There's a lifelessness to their ineptitude early on. In this, let's talk about Sunday's game real quick. Nick Gonzalez went hitless in that game. And if you just look at the box score, man, he's struggling. He's only hitting 200. That's not good enough. I thought this stud was going to come back and help us, right? All he can do is hit a walk-off sac fly. Yeah, but if you actually watched this game, man, he drilled 2 balls. Line drives right at people. And then he drilled one out to the deepest part of left field that was caught. Beautiful play. Jared Triolo has been hitting some lasers around. Reyes grabbed a couple of them yesterday and stopped them from falling. This is not the same lifeless offense that was occupying most of the games that we watched throughout the beginning of the season. The results are the same. They're still not getting enough runs across the plate. They still don't have power. That's not going to just appear. You know what I mean? You are getting a few contributions from Henry Davis, who does have power and has put it on display. Nick Gonzalez is hitting, at least for slug. He's got those triples. He hasn't put one over the wall yet, but he's getting deep, hard contact. I think there's a lot of good signs that some guys are taking better swings and everything. Might wind up being good for Spencer Horwitz that he winded up having to sit most of the series because we were facing left-handed pitching. I actually think he needed to sit down a little bit. He had been going nonstop from the time he started rehabbing until the time that he sat the other day against a lefty. Third one they faced in 4 games, by the way. So I think getting a little bit of a reset, letting him have some time to actually talk with his hitting coach that he's so comfortable with for a minute, I think you're going to see a different Spencer Horwitz come back out of this little mini break that he's gotten himself against Miami. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I know that he's a better hitter than what he's done so far. Great series, man. All I can say is, like, you got to allow yourself to enjoy it. You really do. You got to stop punishing yourself for being a Pirates fan and like acting like you're not allowed to take the win every once in a while. I see way too much of it. Way too much of putting yourself down before you accept a little bit of praise or give a little bit of praise. You know, be happy about it. It's okay. When we come back, let's just talk about some notes, and then I want to talk a little bit about All-Star Game stuff because the voting has officially been opened. We might as well start talking about it. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I love these no shells Wonderful Pistachios. Great golf snack, no mess on your fingers, and way better for you than what I tend to eat on the golf course. Get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. All on all the podcast sites that you can listen to podcasts. We are available on all of them. They all offer you a way to subscribe to. That's a great way to not miss a show. Make sure you do that too. And give us a like on those platforms as well. We appreciate all of it very much. So let's talk a little bit about some performances over the weekend here. I just wanted to make sure that I highlighted. The bullpen only allowed 1 inherited runner and really nothing more all weekend. They were incredible. They're probably the main reason that the Pirates won this series, let alone swept it. The starting pitching was superb on Saturday and Sunday. The bullpen saved Friday's game and made the end of Saturday and Sunday drama free. There's just not much you can say about it. This is the best version of David Bednar. Man, I'm trying to think back. I don't think at any point last year did he look the way he does right now. Brett Strom has been really, really in his ear trying to get him convinced that he needs to use all 3 of his pitches and needs to be confident he can land all 3 of them. And you can see that it has changed the approach hitters take against him. They don't have as many, I'm going to guess, heat and just take a big mighty cut at it situations as they used to. Because Bednar's trying to get you out in different ways now. He can go with that splitter down to the lefties. He can go with that curveball, and he can paint corner on the outside to either a lefty or a righty. And the top of the zone fastball, it's playing at 97, 98, and he's painting it. You know, this is a David Bednar I haven't seen in a long time. And I don't fill the comments with trade him. I already have told you that's what I want to do. That's not what it needs to be about right now. Let's just appreciate that an athlete who did really well for us here, a hometown guy, you know, he had worked himself up into a certain amount of stardom here in Pittsburgh. And then he fell very much so out of favor here in town. And there weren't too many people that didn't want to just move on from him or cut him or DFA him or whatever. But to his credit and to the team's credit, they've worked together and he's come back not only looking like what he was, but I think even a step beyond what he had become. I think they've made him a more dangerous back end of the bullpen type guy. And he's going to be valuable to somebody. So yes, we will get there. But for right now, he's a big reason why you can trust the back end of that bullpen. Cruz has 23 stolen bases right now. I see no way he doesn't reach 30 by the All-Star break. I'd be shocked if he didn't. So I'm getting there. 12 home runs. I'd really like to see a little bit better from him, but again, didn't I just say they faced 3 out of 4 lefties? And they all went pretty deep into their contests too. Well, O'Neal Cruz just has not gotten that lefty stroke yet. I mean, there's certain lefties where I don't know that O'Neal Cruz has in his bag of tricks what it takes to actually hit them. That's what I would say. Some of them. Christopher Sanchez is an especially tough matchup for him because he's got very late moving, deceptive stuff at the bottom of the zone. And that's stuff that O'Neal struggles to not go after in the first place. So, but at the same time, I do think last year we saw him able to kind of stay back on some more stuff like that and slap it to left field. I think at some point he'll work that back into his game. Another thing I think we're seeing with Cruz is he's getting really frozen on that inside fastball, bottom third of the zone, like in against his body there. What's funny about that is, man, that is like the most traditional, don't ever pitch there to a lefty spot. And O'Neal cannot pull the trigger on it. And part of me thinks it's because it's something nobody has dared to throw to him. I can't remember it being targeted, really. Not like this. So now you're seeing it targeted, and I think it's catching him off guard. And I don't think that'll continue. I think eventually, good players start to realize that scouts have talked pitchers into doing something against him, and he'll figure it out and attack it. If you think back, this sort of thing has happened to Brian Reynolds too. For a while there, everybody and their mother threw him sliders down and in left-handed because he couldn't get to them. And then high fastballs for a couple or for a season was up and out over the strike zone he couldn't get to. You see that sort of stuff happen, and good hitters adjust to it. I think we'll see O'Neal Cruz adjust to it a little bit, and he'll be ready to turn on that pitch. And then I think that fad will end rather quickly. So let's talk about All-Star games, huh? Because if we're talking about the All-Star break coming up, let's start talking about All-Star participants. Who deserves to be at the All-Star game from the Pirates this year? I mean, the voting just opened. And I'd like you to tell me who deserves to go. Tell me in the comments. I'll give you mine. Paul Skeens, of course. I don't think that that's a question. Despite that win-loss record, it won't matter. In fact, I think he's on track to probably start in the All-Star game again. He's that good. His ERA is officially 188 right now after yesterday's game. I mean, just insane what he's doing. O'Neal Cruz is really the only offensive member that I think I would consider. I think he's got a shot, and it's mainly because of playing center field. But I don't know. I don't know that he'll get voted in. I think he'd have to be added in. And I don't know if the Pirates don't get a mercy spot because Paul Skeens is going to go. Maybe O'Neal Cruz gets squeezed out, but I think he's been impressive enough. The home runs are up there, the StatCast stuff. I think people would love to see him in the home run derby. I think it would make for good TV to have him in the home run derby. Doesn't have to start, but I think he'll make it, or at least get a shot if he keeps playing like this. Some of you might think IKF, he's hitting over 300 or close to it anyway. He's having a good enough season. But he is never, ever going to get in at shortstop. Look around the National League. He is not going to get in at shortstop. And he's played exclusively shortstop. So for the most part. So nobody's going to have him go as some utility or whatever. He's a shortstop, and he won't make it. My dark horse is Dennis Santana, a 2.00 ERA, a 0.1 for 0.89 WHIP, 5 saves. He's been virtually unhittable this year. Those are my 3 candidates as we sit here right now. Who do you got? I mean, tell me wherever you talk to me, whatever platform. I'll read some of them tomorrow on the show. So give me your pitch with your nominee. Don't just give me a list of names. Give me whys, okay? If you tell me why and it's good enough, I'll read it on the show tomorrow and let everybody discuss it from there. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Pirates inductees for the Hall of Honor. They finally announced who's going to be in the new class, and this one has got some championship legacy. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family? You missed completely that Paul Skeens was pitching and you need to be there. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop as you get closer to first pitch, and they've got incredible last minute deals. Clear seat views and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worry almost completely out of buying at all. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for Mike Burrows tonight against the Marlins. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Let's talk a little bit about who the Pittsburgh Pirates have put forth for their Hall of Fame. I love this every year. I do. I can't wait to start seeing some more from my youth. Like when I start seeing like the Dougie Drabecks and the Andy Van Slykes and Jason Kendalls and players along those lines. That's when it'll start meaning, I think, even more to me. I don't have an awful lot of that yet. And it's not like I don't appreciate this history, but all 3 of these guys predate me being a fan, and I'm almost 50. So like I just think I like it if they would start getting a little bit closer to modern day, just even if it was the 90s, a little bit Keller highlights you could actually watch of some people, but it doesn't diminish what's been done here. In fact, one of my favorite on this list, Al Oliver. I know Al Oliver. I know a lot about him from my grandparents. They loved Al Oliver, and I've always followed him, and I can obviously see some highlights of his games and everything. So Al Oliver gets in. His Pirate stats are great. 296 average, 789 OPS, 135 home runs as a Pirate, including the last one at Forbes Field, and I think the first one at Three Rivers Stadium. I think you might have to double check me on that, but I think the first one at Three Rivers Stadium too. 54 stolen bases in his career, which is funny because he played center field a lot too, and on top of first base. So you would think he'd be more of a burner, but 276 doubles in a little over 1,300 games as a Pittsburgh Pirate, 7-time All-Star in 72, 75 through 78, 80 and 81, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner from 80 to 82, 71 World Series champion with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He had 529 doubles in his career and led the league in 1980 and 82. Unbelievable player. He has an argument for the Hall of Fame. After the Cobra, I think you could probably say he was next in line for that guy that people thought deserved to be in. And now he gets at least the Pirates Hall of Fame, and I'm glad to see it because he's remained very present as a Pirates alumni. So I've been fortunate to get to meet him a few times, and I think Manny told him I was decent, so so he talked to me. But Scoops is a really, really good dude, and smart, knows so much about baseball. The other thing that I wanted to just mention about him, I mean, he was part of that first all-black team to ever play in Major League Baseball, and the Pirates put that lineup up, and I just think that's something that kind of just adds to his legacy in a different way. I don't think we often think about how long it took from breaking the Keller barrier to like having something like that not be news. You know what I mean? So Vern Law gets in, and he was with the Pirates his entire career. 162 and 147 win-loss record, 377 ERA, 2,672 innings pitched as a Pittsburgh Pirate, 1,092 Ks, and a 1.204 whip. It was the Deacon. I mean, between 59 and 1960, he threw 38 complete games and led the staff with 18 and 20 wins, respectively. He was the 1960 Cy Young Award winner, two-time All-Star, 1960 World Series champion, of course. He played a key role on this team, and what not everybody knows is that he suffered an ankle injury during the 1960 season, and it affected his pitching mechanics. And so he combated that by just changing his delivery slightly, and he ended up screwing up his shoulder, but contributed mightily to winning that series with 2 wins. And just an incredible pitcher for the Pirates. Not a Hall of Famer, probably not going to be a Hall of Famer. But as far as Pirates pitchers go, an all-time great. They don't have an awful lot of people that you would even put up as a candidate for the Hall of Fame, but he certainly deserves to be in the Pirates Hall of Honor. And Kiki Kyler. Boy, get out your encyclopedias and look this one up. But I know Kyler because I used to play this wonderful game on my computer way back when called Earl Weaver Baseball. And he was one of the greats that was programmed into that game that you could play. And I had no idea his significance or impact on the Pirates at the time. But since, obviously gotten to look into it, his Pirate stats are great. 336 average, 912 OPS, 38 home runs, 130 stolen bases, 115 doubles, 525 games. He played the majority of his career outside of Pittsburgh, really. His first 3 seasons, he barely played. He only received 49 at-bats in his first 3 seasons with Pittsburgh before he finally broke through in 1924. His 1925 season, in which he led the Pirates to the World Series and finished second. Believe it or not, when I read these numbers, he finished second in the MVP voting this season. Just listen to these numbers. It's crazy. 701 plate appearances, 144 runs, 220 hits, 43 doubles, 26 triples, 18 home runs, 102 RBI, 41 stolen bases, a 357 average, and a 1.021 OPS. Nobody in the modern era has scored more runs in a single season for the Pirates. His career numbers are insane. He was an All-Star in 1934, World Series champion in 1925, NL stolen base leader in 26, 28 through 30, and he's also in the Chicago Cubs Hall of Fame. Don't hold that against him. He deserves to be in the Pirates as well. I do think that short time frame of real impact in Pittsburgh kind of will open the door for some other conversations that we'll have a little bit later about some other players that maybe only had impact in Pittsburgh for, 4 or 5 years before ending up going and playing the majority of their career somewhere else. I think there's room for potentially a Bobby Bonilla because of something like that, or even Dougie Drabek, maybe John Smiley, somebody that you talk about. For his broadcasting, Bob Walk's going to get in, but he's another guy that really only pitched here for a few years of his career. Anyway, I think the Hall of Honor is a cool thing. They haven't announced when they're actually having that game yet, where they talk about it. So when they celebrate it. So once they do, I'll let you know. But that's all I got for you today. Marlins are next. Pirates should do well against the Marlins, right? If we're truly better, we got to beat the teams that are worse than us. I might be the first time this year I've been able to say that since we faced the Marlins in the opening series of the season, right? Let's do better than we did last time. Looking forward to it. Mike Burrows, let's see if he can go back to back on good starts and keep things rolling for the starting rotation, because they are on fire. Thank you so much for joining me today. Talk to you tomorrow.